Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show on InspireSmall.biz. This is a very special show, not just because of my guest, my good friend James Belt, who you'll meet in a minute or so, but this is the 500th edition of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show. So we've reached quite a milestone here, and my guest, James, has been on the show before. What is Indy's Trusted Servant? Well, that's me, Danny O'Malia, Indy's Trusted Servant. I do customer service training and keynote speaking about customer service. It's all about the culture of the organization, what makes Chick-fil-A, Nordstrom, and until holidays last year, Southwest Airlines, better than everybody else in their industry. They had great cultures and they somehow kept them as they grew, where a lot of places don't do that. And my guest today represents a great culture in dry cleaning, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. I learned all this stuff about customer service and organizational culture from the master, my late father, Joe O'Malia, back in the O'Malia Food Market days. And even before that, when he owned a little grocery store in Broad Ripple, where the Vanguard Bar is on Guilford. It had one cash register. This was the mid-50s to late 50s, and about 8 employees, one of which was a 10-year-old kid. He lost that store and came back 10 years later and successfully launched O'Malia Food Markets with 9 stores and 950 employees. And one of the things I learned was never, ever, ever give up from my dad. If you're interested in finding out about my customer service keynoting or training, give me a call at 317-413-9062. What's the Indy's Trusted Servant Show on InspireSmall.biz? I like to describe it as lively local small biz and community talk where you can feel the pulse of Indy. Today my guest is a good friend whom I've known for quite a while now, and he is
14 years?
Well, something like that, easily. Yeah, he's my dry cleaner, okay, and he's had me come in keynote to his employees at Fabric Care Dry Cleaners. And James Belt is my guest today. It's good to have you, James.
Well, thank you for having me.
Give a little James Belt history. You grew up in the area, right?
Yeah, since 1970, my family ran out of money while traveling, and Indianapolis was the place we ran out of money.
Oh, really?
We pulled up our trailer into a Greek-owned trailer park, Lantern Estates, and
whereabouts was this place?
west side of Indy.
Okay.
We're 70.
This is something I didn't know.
Yeah, it's owned by a member of a famous family in this town.
Okay.
Being a broadcaster, the name Kritzis should have a ring a bell.
Oh man, I'll never forget that.
That was his brother.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Actually,
and I've known the whole family. They're good people. Everyone makes mistakes. That's a pretty loud mistake.
That was a big one. Well, you know what? I had on the radio show many years ago, Richard Hall, the guy that he was going to shoot.
Well, it all depends how you want to hear the story.
Well, we'll talk more about that off air because there's some pretty wild stuff that I know about that thing. At any rate, we're here to talk about Fabric Care and Fabric Care Dry Cleaners, and you guys were founded by Tom Prionis Sr.
No, his name is Pete.
Pete Prionis in 1960, so you're 63 years old. And Pete Prionis is still around, right?
90-some years old.
97. Does he still come to work?
In a blue moon. We'll see
Okay.
him for big functions, for having a birthday party for his son, or it's really a lot for him to get out and get around.
Oh, more power to him, though. So, and your boss is his son, Tom Prionis, right? So you guys, your main dry cleaners is located way out in West Washington and 465, basically,
Yeah, but
right?
we don't think it's way out there. It's still in the loop.
Yeah, it's in the loop. It's a big place.
Yeah.
And you not only do dry cleaning, you have a laundry there, and
Yep.
our
laundromat can handle 900 pounds an hour.
lot of
You'll
machines.
hear me talk about with other things. So it's we've really invested in being able to produce when the city needs us to jump.
Which we're going to talk a lot about that, right? So how many employees does Fabric Care have?
We're just under 50.
Just under 50. How many of those are the delivery fellas?
We have 4 home delivery drivers and 3 hotel drivers.
And what would be the physical geographical limit for you to deliver a home?
Central Indiana, from Purdue University to IU.
All the way from Purdue to
DePaul,
IU?
Wabash,
Okay.
Marion, Franklin College.
Okay, so pretty much a huge swath of central Indiana. Does it go over all the way to the Ohio and Illinois line?
Not yet.
Not quite, but
Not yet. We have friends out on the Ohio side, and you know we take care of all the hotels in the city of Indianapolis, but we don't take care of the hotels in Fishers.
okay.
And the reason being is the traffic is so horrible. You know, we have to do hotel work in 5 hours. So imagine all these guests of these hotels send their work to us, and still there's always someone who wants something special and extra.
Right.
And so you have to take that, inventory it, photo it under a video camera, and clean it, press it, do any repairs that we find something like a button missing or a seam broken,
Yeah.
and we just automatically repair them, and we get them ready, and about 2, 3 o'clock, they're on their way back to those hotels so their guests can have them hopefully no later than 5 or 6 o'clock.
When you say all the hotels in Indianapolis, what's the geography on that?
Plainfield, Greenwood are the outermost hotels. We have a couple in Avon we take care of.
Yeah, okay.
All the airport hotels, all the hotels downtown except for one. It's easier to tell you which one. We don't serve Bottle Works, although they have called us for emergencies and we've helped them out.
Interesting, interesting.
Hotels going around the city, all the way around the city,
Around the interstate, pretty much, yeah.
except Beach Grove, and we've never been able to.
There's several hotels down there.
Yeah, there are no big major ones that really attract this type of work. Hotel guest work generally happens in more premium hotels.
Okay, we're going to come back to the hotels in a minute, and we're going to talk about some of the stuff you've done with the city of Indianapolis, the NCAA tournament when it was played here. But I want to latch on to the home delivery.
You can latch onto the 500 too. We take care of Penske and all that.
Well, there you go. We'll talk about that too. Yeah, these guys are really good, and I'll go ahead and jump in here. James has heard me tell, I don't know how many people, these 2 stories about customer service at Fabricare. One was I had it was a necktie, and I guess I got some spaghetti sauce on it or something, and they couldn't get the sauce. It was barely visible, but they put a little thing on there with their logo and said, "We've done the best we can with that. You might as well throw it out," which saves, I wouldn't have even noticed if you hadn't put that on there. But a better story is, 10 years ago or so, James called and said, I had this nice Izod shirt, dress shirt, and when I put it on, I don't notice, but in the back, it's a little haggard. I've had it a while. So what he did was he cut the collar off and turned it around and put it on. And he told me, Ellie, you'll get another 5 years out of this shirt. And you are absolutely right. That's the kind of service. I love that.
Well, you have to take care of your customers. Our philosophy is really take care of your loyal customers because, well, COVID's the greatest example of it. It was our loyal customers who kept us alive. We lost 75% of our business, 100% of our hotel business.
Yep.
So you were standing there looking at each other going, okay, what does the end look like? Where do we want to go and what do we want to, I was trying to ask my boss, okay, we're a legacy company. This is your father's legacy. How far is the family willing to go to keep this? And then at that time, he was talking with his sister. They applied for the PPP money. As we're coming to the end of the money where they would have to start reaching in their own pockets, here comes the check from PPP.
Well, that's good.
And Tom used it exactly for what it was supposed to be used for. I mean, I saw so many dry cleaners who fired all their staff.
But you guys paid your employees and
We
kept them
used that
around.
money. He created a special account, put that money in the account, and that's the account that payroll was drawn off.
Yeah.
And we made sure we kept everybody that we could. A few people left us for brighter surroundings, but when we came out of COVID, we had all of our staff intact. We had a full pressing team, we had a full set of drivers, and we had a group of people who all wanted to work. And to this day, those people are all still with us.
So of those, you say 60 employees?
Under 50.
About 50. Most of them been with you a long time.
Yes. Now we've had some changeover, as in personality conflicts, or
Yeah.
we've got the team we have now is just wonderful. I mean, we've had good teams in the past, but we have a really great team that comes together to try to excel. It's easy to motivate to do better. It's easy to work to achieve more.
So with the home pickup and delivery, you guys do my house, you do my daughter's house, and my son-in-law, he's a financial advisor, and he wears a lot of coats and ties, right? I used to wear a lot of coats and ties. I don't as much anymore. And we're both very, very satisfied with the service. Do you pick up and deliver twice a week or once a week?
We, in Indianapolis and the central Maine groupings we take care of, and with home delivery, we pick up twice a week. It's either Monday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Friday. There was a United States congressman who asked me during COVID to come out to his house and pick up his laundry. And he was very persuasive and very helpful in sharing some information about who was most likely could use that service in his hometown. So we started going out to Greencastle and Crawfordsville, and next thing you know, we had somebody in Lafayette begging us to come up there.
Oh,
and
baby.
my boss was like, Tom was like, let's go get whatever we can get right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so we started driving to Lafayette, and we've always been going to Bloomington. And those routes, we just kept filling in the gaps between it. But Bloomington was our first step out, where we went once a week. They get service every Wednesday, and it was basically, we found that people were driving from Bloomington seeking something better and dropping their clothes off at our place on Saturday. They'd go
The
shopping
place
in
on
Indy. The place
West
in
Washington.
West Washington.
From Bloomington.
From
Wow.
Bloomington, an hour
Wow.
drive. And then they would come back. And so you start paying attention to what your customers are doing and their patterns. Then you start saying, well, why are you driving this way? I have to wait now for 2 months for you to come back shopping. Why don't we just take care of you on a regular basis? Because they liked our shirts better. I mean, you see me wearing my shirt outside of my pants. It's to show you that we press all the way to the bottom. Most machines stop at the waist. And then you got wrinkles and things folded in the wrong direction.
And our listeners, until you saw that, you thought James was a slob. But he wore that shirt that way
I wear it outside
to make a
just
point.
To make a point.
Yes.
Because a lot of people work in offices now where they don't care so much, and they'll wear it outside, and you'll see everything's pressed to the bottom. And it all started from one customer asking for it, and he got a friend to sign up because we were doing his shirts that way. Next thing, our staff just started pressing everything to the bottom, and it was like, okay, because the service is what it's about. I mean,
It sure is.
gosh, I wrote something down. I saw it was inspired on the road. Service built on trust. I mean,
Yep.
somebody also wrote something else as a cliche, and I started thinking, so what does that mean for us? I mean, service built on trust. What does that mean, to trust your customer, someone to rely on you?
It's a big deal.
I mean, yeah, because when a person who doesn't make a lot of money gives you something, it's because they have some treasured item, and you have to realize that's their treasured item. Even though they might have one item that's a designer piece of clothing, when they give that to you, that means a lot to them. And I mean, others wear designer clothing and on an everyday basis, and yes, we appreciate it and we take good care, but you have to realize every piece of clothing means something to somebody.
And people, if they're going to turn something in the dry cleaner, they need it back, right?
They do, but sometimes same-day service is not as possible as it used to be.
No, understandable.
People don't realize the sacrifices you make to go into a cleaner and say, I need that in an hour. Well, today you can't get cleaning in an hour like you could with the old chemicals. Today's cycles take an
The
hour.
chemicals are out.
The chemicals have changed. The new chemicals take about an hour and 20 to 2 hours in a cycle, depending on which dry cleaners you go to and what they're using. The old cycles, you could clean something in 20 to 30 minutes, press it and say, hey, I'm a 45-minute cleaner, I'm a 1-hour cleaner, and do it. But it also takes a lot of for timing, and then you're sacrificing, there's no chance to go back and do it again. There's no chance to really spend time taking a stain out. So you really want to give your cleaners time. We like 2 to 3 days. So
Yep.
You see what we sacrifice with the hotels is we can't always give that level of service. So you have when you get that little sticker that you talk about, that tag, you have to think of the dry cleaner as like a doctor. You ever go to the doctor, what's his first thing? the joke on is you got sniffles and we'll give you some antibiotics and some nasal creams or nasal things. Well, the doctor's just going to the first option. So your tie is going to the first option. We're trying to do no harm. If he goes deeper in you and says, oh, you have an autoimmune disease, you're not going to want to hear that. And he's got to really go do a lot. But the same thing with dry cleaning is that tie, we might have been able to get the stain out if we did some experimental, or I don't want to say experimental, more riskier
Risky,
tests.
yeah.
So you might end up with a white spot where that tomato-based
Which is
stain
just
was.
as bad or worse.
Right.
Right.
So you have to have a conversation with us and say, James, this tie was my favorite tie. My dad gave it
Let's
to me.
give it a shot.
Can we do anything further with it? And sometimes it's a matter of cleaning it 3 and 4 and 5 times. And the 5th time, it slowly gets better and better and better each time. Sorry for taking this away.
Well, I didn't even know that, but at any rate, the point I really want to make is you guys are great communicators, and you're the main communicator, which leads me to say, if you want to get a hold of James Belt and Fabric Care Dry Cleaners, tell us your cell phone number.
Well, my cell phone number is, we call it our hotline, 317-224-3212. But here's the magic thing. It's on everything we print. So it's on the
bills.
It used to be on the yellow pages, the biggest number in there. It was on the bills. It's on every piece of marketing, because our system is very transparent now. You get that text telling you we're coming, and you tell me no.
Or yes.
Or yes.
Yes.
Okay. So on that is my cell phone number.
Right.
And if you want to communicate, you can reply to that text and say, James, come today, but don't deliver it on Friday because I'm going to be out of town. So we'll just deliver it the following Tuesday. And so I program the machine. Every morning I go through and check all the communications people have sent to us and make sure we're trying to comply with what they're requesting.
And that's a small thing, a seemingly small thing, which you started doing, maybe you started doing it during COVID, I don't know. You'll get an email. The dry cleaning gets picked up at my house on Tuesdays and Fridays. I get an email on Monday. Do you need dry cleaning? And I can say no and save you guys a lot of trouble and time and gas and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or yes, and then you'll come and pick it up. That's a great idea.
Well, we changed software systems in 2007. We seem to have become early adapters. It used to be we were the late person coming to the game. But since something happened to us 16 years ago, we had the opportunity to have our competitors walk through our building and tell us what they didn't like about us.
Oh,
And
really?
it's something called a cost group. And in this case, there was one competitor from Indianapolis, and the rest of the people were all big players all around the state.
Okay.
And that was a very educating.
It's like a focus group, kind of.
A focus group.
Yeah.
And they come in and they're not supposed to tell you good things about you anyway, but they do tell you good things that you're doing. And one of the things that we got out of it was we need to learn to share and talk to people. So after this was all over with, we went out and found other groups to join and started touring other facilities and start learning from them.
Yeah.
And you get a trust going with the focus group. So now you don't even worry about being a member of the focus group. You got a question, you say, hey, have you ever bought this piece of equipment? How are you handling this problem? One guy who was taking care of the St. Louis Rams, not St. Louis Rams anymore.
No, they're not.
Football team closed, and he was having a problem getting the grass stains out. So he's now calling all everybody in this focus group. How do I get these stains out? What are you doing? What's your experience? So having people to share
That's
and
awesome.
not having to worry about there being a conflicting competitive situation. And ironically, we have all of our competitors' cell phone numbers in our cell phone. And we have called them and said, hey, a quick story was some marketing person was trying to impress us with how many calls he could get us out of this advertising we're buying from him. And he somehow programmed, yes, it happened, programmed all the numbers in a search for hotline was coming to us. So people were complaining about one of our competitors because they missed delivery something or they had a problem. I was getting all these calls all of a sudden. And it took me a few minutes to always have to go through and find out they're not ours. But then once I found out who their cleaner was, I'd pick up the phone and I'd call the cleaner directly and say,
Help
hey,
them
I just
out.
got this call from such and such. Can you have somebody go see her? She's missing her comforter. I just want to help you out. Here you go. And I walk away. And I got to think, driver's on the way with it. It's like, thank you. So if you
If you do the right thing,
You do the right thing with your competitors, they're going to do the right thing with you.
and your customers, and your competitors,
Correct.
and your suppliers,
And your
obviously.
suppliers.
Yep.
I mean, I just
Yep.
gave a supplier, I was talking to a cleaner in Fort Wayne who's unhappy with his supplier. And he's pretty small, so he doesn't know the game. So I picked up, this gentleman came in to show me a chemical that I asked him to bring me a sample of. And I said, here, call this guy. Here's his number. Here's the thing. I even called the gentleman on the other end and said, hey, you're going to get a call. But it isn't just about servicing your customers. You have to serve your community.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, one thing I do want to talk about, this is coat distribution system year because people are getting cold. And Fabric Care donates coat cleaning for multiple organizations. I happen to be on the board of the Plainfield Kiwanis, which is collecting coats, both adult and children's, to be distributed on the 28th of October in, gosh, now I can't remember the name of the church. It'll come to me. I'll come back to it. There's a church in Plainfield that has it. If you want to know where to go, call me.
Is it St. Susanna?
No, but I don't work with St. But I did work with. I'm working with St. Christopher's,
Yeah,
and they're doing a coat drive, and we're working with the Wayne Township Adult Education Program. They're doing a coat drive right now, and we're working with the churches in Mission, in Mooresville and Martinsville. They're having both of theirs on the 28th as well.
Okay.
And we inspired them, and even though I've helped them get so organized, they don't need me as much anymore. Cross Points Christian Church in Crawfordsville now has added coat distribution to their outreach efforts for their community. So it's amazing how one sparks so many other people to do the right thing and help others. So we are collecting coats. We're also, the next step for me is I'm going to be changing my role a little bit, and Fabric Care is building a coat bank. It's going to be the Kiwanis Coat for Community Foundation Bank. We actually have a bank who's giving us the money to build it.
You're building a building?
We're not building a building. We have extra space in one of our stores in our Plainfield location.
Okay. Well,
And we've designed it to hold 3,000 coats. And another company's went out and found a software, very inexpensive software, that will allow a teacher, when they see their student coming to school without a coat, to say, come here, son. Pick on the computer the coat you like.
oh, that's
And
awesome.
And we'll send it, we will deliver it to that school as quickly as we can. So that kid has it. So by next year, this time, I won't be talking about events. I'll be talking about
Coats.
getting the information to teachers. But this is giving back to the community because our story isn't a story of we had this aggressive marketing campaign and we gave everything away. It's a story of opportunities and learning how to recognize it. I mean, my favorite story about learning how to recognize opportunities was the Grand Prix was a big thing for Fabric Care 16, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And
all those rich Europeans.
You know what? We took care of every race car driver for the Grand Prix. And I wish back then I took a picture of all their race uniforms lined up.
Yeah.
And I could say, back then I used to say, we are the dry cleaners of champions because we handled the RCA championships back then and this Grand Prix.
Well, you mentioned the Speedway.
We do the Speedway.
You do the Speedway.
Well,
when you
we
say
do
you
the
do the
Team
Speedway.
Team Penske we've taken care of for over 20 years.
Team Penske. A great business, by the way.
Yes.
I got a lot of respect for them. So glad Penske bought the track. But that's a bit of a digression, I guess. So talk about when the whole NCAA tournament was played in Indianapolis and Bloomington and Purdue and where at the Coliseum and whatever.
So we were involved with the consulting on that 2 to 3 months. As soon as they came up with the idea they wanted to bring in Indianapolis, I was talking to Visit Indy. They were calling me to consult about it. And so I was explaining them our experience with NCAA teams was this. And I had a coach from a small school challenge me on this. I said, but the only time we ever dealt with NCAA teams was when a 16th or 15th seed came to Indianapolis and won their game, and they did not have a second set of laundry.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
We go for that Sunday.
Yeah, okay.
And we would get a call from the hotel, can you wash this for them real quick and get it done? And we would open up on a Sunday and take care of them. But what happened in March Madness was the city, and I advised that the teams would come with clean laundry. No one expected these teams to come right from the Big Ten tournament
Right.
to Indianapolis
Right,
and,
right.
and quarantine themselves.
Right.
And so they came with dirty laundry. And the city was unprepared because, well, here's the funny part. The city gave the contracts, we had to bid on it, to 3 other dry cleaners. Obviously, we didn't have any friends on that board. But
You didn't get any contracts originally?
the only contract we got was to take care of CBS. We were told it was 300 and some people. The whole country was buying bags, and our bag supplier, hearing we were taking care of March Madness, rushed our bags through because we made special bags for the CBS sports teams.
Okay. Oh,
Rushed our bags through, and so we have as we take care of them. We were prepared. On Sunday night, before the Big Ten tournament, our phones started ringing, and we're politely saying, well, there's somebody else has it. We want to respect the decisions. Monday morning, our phone's ringing harder, and at the meantime, we called the city. The city says, "Go for it. We're not ready." And so we jumped. And the worst part of it is on that Monday, our one laundromat person who works on wash and fold, we usually bring in people to help when they get busy, had been given the day off. And so now it's me filling washing machines, the other manager, Stacy, who works with me. Tom's mother's coming in. Stacy's calling her mother in. Her mother's bringing a friend in. Other mothers from other employees are coming to help us.
now wait a minute. So how many? Were you taking care of all the dry cleaning?
No,
for all the
we
teams?
only handled 37 teams.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's a lot. And honestly, when we were bidding on the contract, I thought we could handle all of it. And truth be told, we ended up taking care of 5 tons of laundry for the NCAA. And truth be told, the city did 13 tons of laundry. So, I can sit here and tell you we didn't do the lion's share of it, they did. But what we ended up doing is we could do it faster. And so, the first 2 or 3 days, we took care of everyone and it was 3 tons of laundry done in the first week. And we got it back same day to each of these teams. They had to pay for their laundry. There's no big deal in that. That all worked out well. Then the following week, we were supposed to get free laundry from the city of Indianapolis. The team still called us. We did a ton of laundry
Because
with Sweet
they'd worked
16.
with you already.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you
We
go.
did another ton with the Final Four because somehow our teams are winning, and we would do it in 3 to 5 hours what the city was doing in 2 days.
Well,
So you hear this speed thing. It's because we're used to taking care of hotels and getting things done in 5 hours for the hotels. So we know there's an urgency.
Well, I think the fact that you did that with the NCAA on short notice, with, again, you weren't ramped up employee-wise, but you called in the dogs, right?
Well, the dogs, as you say, were our mothers, so we don't want to call them too many dogs, okay?
Yeah.
But we now have what we call our Mother's Brigade. And we have a team of 6 to 7 people who are regularly come in every morning as early as 6 o'clock to take on. And now we're doing wash and fold for Airbnbs. We're doing helping out hotels when their washing machines broke down. A senior facilities washing machine broke, and they were a week and a half behind, and they started telling the parents of these
Oh, God.
when the memory care people. And so we went in to help one person, and we talked to the manager. Next thing you know, we were walking away with laundry for 42 people. We did that in 3 hours and was back in the hotel. The facility. And the facility's looking at us going, "Would you like to do this regularly?" And so we came in twice a week and was taking care of that for them. But all came from me telling this March Madness story. You tell one story and feed what you can do.
Yeah.
And then more possibilities come.
James Belt, Fabric Care Dry Cleaners. Give us that phone number again.
317-224-3212. And by the way, one last thing before you cut me off. Home delivery is the same price as walking in the door. So why pay the gas?
Awesome. Yep.
Why stand there waiting for someone to be able to just set it outside your door and have it picked up and 3 days later hanging on your front door?
It's an awesome service.
It works.
James Belt,
Thank
Fabric
you.
Care Dry Cleaners. Thanks for being my guest on the 500th edition of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
There you go.